There she goes from the Lars on BBC Radio Gloucestershire. Now, are you a volunteer? Do you give your time up to help one of the many organisations around the country and the county? Maybe you help one of the sporting clubs in Gloucestershire. Well, as part of a special programme, over 10,000 sport volunteering hours have been given by 682 Gloucestershire residents who are inspired to become sports volunteers through something called Sport Makers. Sport Makers is Sport England's Olympic and Paralympic volunteering legacy programme. Here in the county, Active Gloucestershire run the scheme with the motto, more people, more active, more often. Well, Sports Makers was around before the Olympic Games Makers, and Andy Herbert is Gloucestershire's Senior Sports Development Manager.
The programme started in October 2011 and is continuing until October 2013.
And was it set up with the Olympics in mind, or is it not linked at all?
Yes, it's an Olympic and Paralympic legacy programme with an overall goal of increasing the amount of people that take part in sport and physical activity.
So what sort of things are you encouraging people to do here in Gloucestershire then?
Well, the programme itself is about training up sports volunteers. They attend a workshop which lasts about 2 hours where they find out a little bit about the Olympic and Paralympic values, a little bit about leadership, having fun and keeping safe, and then they develop an action plan which they then go and deliver locally, and it's just about making sport happen at that local level. It can be helping out at local sports clubs, so your sort of traditional coaching, bits and bobs, or it could be as informal as knocking on a friend's door and saying, let's go out for a run. It's just all about getting more people involved in sport and physical activity.
So you can help them see their goal then. They've got a goal, I don't know. I've just got a friend actually who's got together with some friends and started up a kids' football club, rather than a club football team, a number of teams. You'd be able to help somebody put them in the right direction for that sort of thing?
Yeah, the Sport Makers programme itself is geared towards people who are age 16 and over, so those who attend the workshop are age 16 and over, and they're meant to make people get involved in sport who are also age 16 and over. But Active Gloucestershire, the company that we work for, do support the younger age groups as well in terms of the local clubs that you just mentioned.
And how much of an impact has the Olympics and the Games Makers had on what you do?
The Games Makers opened everyone's eyes to the contribution volunteers make to sport, and it's great that Sport Makers are continuing at a local level. So since the Olympics, we've had 475 people attend a Sport Makers workshop, and we've had over 10,000 hours of volunteering registered by those people in Gloucestershire on the online database. So the Games Makers at a national level have inspired people on a local level to go out there and make sport happen.
And what sort of things are people doing? What's the most common thing that people are doing?
I wouldn't say there's really a sort of common approach. There's a vast majority of things. Give you a couple of examples. A gentleman called Alan Reid, who attended our first Sport Makers workshop, was awarded with the Gloucestershire Sport Maker of the Year award for 2012. He's an employee at Cotswold District Council, and he's set up recreational boxing classes on Friday afternoons for members of staff at the council. Other examples include a couple from the Forest of Dean called Vicky and Mark Jeffries. They actually attended our launch event, which was way back in October 2011 at the Forest of Dean Park Run. They attended, and since then they're now volunteering at that park run. Timekeeping helps set up the route. Various other people are helping out at local clubs across the county, setting up running groups, engaging with national governing bodies of sport to help them develop, or deliver rather, their programmes in Gloucestershire.
So if there's, I'm just going to give an example, somebody watching the golf or the cricket this weekend thinking, you know what, I'm a bit too old to play anymore, but I'd like to still be involved, what do they do?
If they go on Active Gloucestershire's website, which is www.activegloucestershire.org, there's contact details on there for all of our members of staff, information on all of our programmes, volunteering, coaching, information on how they might be able to receive some funding to get involved in coaching or volunteering, or just give us a shout and I'm sure we'll be able to help them out.
And how important is volunteering in grassroots sport here in Gloucestershire?
It's absolutely massive. I can't remember the exact figures in terms of what they throw around nationally in terms of how much they contribute towards the economy, but without volunteers, grassroots sports would not happen. Simple as that.
Andy Herbert, who's Gloucestershire's Senior Sports Development Manager with Active Gloucestershire. ActiveGloucestershire.org then, if you want to find out more details online about how you can get involved with being a volunteer in Gloucestershire sport, whether it's just being a marshal on a race day, whether it's coaching, passing on your skills, whatever it may be, that's the way to go about doing it, really. You can open up all sorts of options. And this, of course, is just ahead of the 1-year anniversary of the Olympics, when we, of course, were so blown away by the games makers and a brilliant job they did at London 2012. It was absolutely brilliant, all that they threw into the London 2012 experience, and they, of course, had a special mention in the speeches and after both the Paralympic Games and the Olympic Games. Absolutely brilliant they were as well. If you've been inspired by that, fancy giving it a go. There are plenty of opportunities all over Gloucestershire. ActiveGloucestershire.org for more details.